welcome. You're watching the Policy Times, India's first policy and development media. Now, recently, India is the name India brand is everywhere. You see, India is becoming a $5 trillion economy soon. India will be a $8 trillion economy. Yesterday, the minister said that the GDP of India can reach up to $30 trillion. And we are only targeting export to be $8 trillion market, or export market, or export potential is going to be $2 trillion soon. So this some good and some are little highly ambitious targets. Whatever it is, India is making its footprint globally, and it is highly visible. There is no debate to that fact. The other angle also, yesterday we read the news that India has almost taken 415 million people out of poverty. India's absolute destitute poverty rate, which was around 18% or something, has gone down to around 4%. That's a remarkable achievement again. So in one hand, the country is achieving high GDP growth and high economic growth. On the other hand, we are also seeing a large number of people are coming out of poverty, and larger modern amenities are being reached to the common mass. While this is a glory or a glorious story in one side, a large population of Indians still do not have safe and healthy drinking water. A lot of people are still suffering from massive amount of air pollution that is there. Many of Indian cities rank in top of the world's most polluted cities. Hence, while achieving the sustainable development goals and our global economic ambitions, it is also absolutely paramount that India achieves a very healthy environmental growth or environmental safe growth. Now, to talk on that, I want to give again one small example to come before I come and welcome my guest, is that if you go to Europe or America, there is no difference between drinking water and normal use water. So people can use the normal water from their normal taps, and they have almost access to the clean water. Now, water and food are the most important factors, and air are the most important factors for healthy living. Now, we need to provide that. And the government has a lot of policies in place to achieve that. How far they are effective, how far not, is what that we are trying to discuss today. What kind of environmental policies India is making and how effective they are. To discuss on this, we have a global expert on the environmental issues, Dr. Mritunjay Chaubey, the Global Vice President, Environment and Sustainability of UPL Group. Chaubey sir, welcome to our show today, and thank you so much for joining us, sir. First question I want to know from you, what is the role, what are the kind of environmental policies the government has put in place in the current format, and how do you see these government environmental policies are playing effective role in achieving sustainable growth for the nation?
Yes, so thank you. Thank you to discussing with me. I think this is our second talk on the Policy Times. Earlier also we discussed it. So coming to your point, if we see the ambitious target of our government under leadership of Sri Narendra Modi, they have set target $5 trillion economy by 2025. So now more ambitious targets is going forward. But yes, if you see the near-term target for 2025, then $5 trillion economy make this for the India, and this is the target of our government. And I feel that today, if you see, we are in 2022-23. So right now, maybe around $3 trillion economy we have achieved. So again, in coming 2 years, adding $2 trillion economy, I think a lot of work is needed. And if we want to fulfill this vision of our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, 5 trillion economy, then what I feel that we have to do several work in direction of enhancing our manufacturing sector and also enhancing the export. And there, I feel that today, to fulfill this vision, Ministry of Environment Forest can play important role in bringing environmental reform in our country. Because today, if you see, we don't have lack of resources, we don't have lack of knowledge, and today India has everything, but the problem is that how we can enable the a speed of growth which should go more than what right now it's happening with the present rate. And if we want to enhance the growth, then right now we have to do certain environmental reforms, because I feel that our environmental regulation at moment also delay the project, also delay the way industry want to grow here. So environmental reform is needed. And some of the area I can outline, that one is the environmental clearance process. So there we have right now certain policy. There we need certain amendment to speed up the environment clearance. Also, we have to bring reform on the environment impact assessment. Also, we have to bring reform on the wastewater characterization and standards. So right now we have only one standard, but we should also make a standard based upon node of a standard of disposal. So wherever we are disposing, our standard should be disposal mode. Also, our standard should be load-based standard. So there are several area in environment where we expect that some reform should come from the Ministry of Environment Forest.
Sir, my second question that I want to know from you, what kind of, because you've seen a lot of policies being formed, a lot of policy discussions happening, and a lot of policies are also being implemented. I want to know from you, from the existing and conventional policies that we have, what are the kind of policy suggestions or policy reform suggestions you would like to suggest to promote growth?
Some of the suggestion, I think from industrial associations, time to time we are discussing with the government through Indian Chemical Council, also FICCI, CII. So I am also on the All Industrial Associations Forum. And what we are asking from the government, that bring the environmental reform. And I can say you some of the example. One is that at this moment, we want that all the notified industrial estate industry should be put under A to B2 category. So at this moment, several industries are under A category, even though they are in the notified industrial estate. Like example is chemical industry. Today, chemical industry has been put under A category, even though they are in the notified industrial area. And what we are suggesting, that make the changes in the regulations, EIA regulation, and bring all the industry who are in notified industrial estate from A to B2 category. The moment we will bring under B2 category, then it will take very less time to get the environment clearance. And the fact is this, that when any industrial area get notified, then already they do the detailed environment impact assessment, and there is a consensus among the government, public, and the private sector that let's bring this industrial estate. So putting under a category all those industry and again doing environment impact assessment every time, I don't think it's just delaying the process of environment clearance. So that is the one area. Bring all industry in notified industrial estate from A to B2 category. One suggestion. Second suggestion we are making that while applying the environment clearance, you exempt the taking NOC of past environment clearance compliances from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Actually, whenever the EC get awarded to any company, they comply, and every 6 months they send the compliance report. So if they are compliant at every 6 months in past, then why we are putting the clause that when you are submitting the EIA report, let's government official visit at the site and they will provide the certificate of past EC clearance. Actually, that delay the process because government also doesn't have so much resources to go at each and every site, and that delay the process. So I think that can be exempted. Third thing is that every 6 month compliance report, industry have to submit for the EC. I feel that make it 3 years. That every 3 years they should send the compliance report. Unnecessarily every 6 months they have to do the documentation and just copy paste, and also it's take time. Also, we can simplify the EIA process. Actually, at this moment, if you see, more than 700-page document happens when we submit the environment impact assessment. And one example I can tell you, nowadays, the ministry is asking to do life cycle assessment of each and every product from cradle to grave. So actually, anyone can do, the consultants are there, they help, and the industry used to submit the LCA, but it delay the process. It takes much more time, complicated process, so it delay the entire documentation process. So there also, we should try to simplify. We should ask only those data which is relevant for the environment protection, and there we can simplify and speed up the things. So I think these are the example. Another area where we feel that at this moment ZLD is mandatory while giving the EC. So there I think the government should look for certain changes. Also, there is a certain regulation related to discharge standard. There also we need to make the discharge standard based upon mode of discharge. So I think these all are the area where reform is needed, and we need to align our standard with the international standards.
Outstanding. So you suggested a couple of points which are of very important nature. I'll come to these points again. Now, government has come up with a very comprehensive, framework. It's called EIA, or Economic Impact Assessment Policy. Now that I think gives a very comprehensive nature, and when government forms this kind of policies, it takes suggestions from the industry and they make it so comprehensive so that it addresses every stakeholder's concern. How and what do you think? What is your opinion on the current EIA policy?
So current EIA policy is old one. I think we brought last amendment in 2006.
Okay.
And the same EIA policy with certain slight amendment, it's going on. In 2020, our government has brought a draft new EIA notification, but still we have not implemented it. The main reason was that that draft EIA notification, which brought in public domain in 2020. So at that time, the situation was that neither NGOs were happy with the draft notification, nor industry was happy. So everyone was criticizing that draft. and a lot of error and omissions were there in that draft. So why still government is struggling and not able to implement that EIA draft notification? What our suggestion is that at this moment we have a EIA policy, environment impact assessment policy, but that was very old in 2006, and now several changes has come in the world, and especially changes related to ESG, sustainability. And today we should must embed the sustainability into our notification, new notification of EIA. Also, we should bring the provision that how faster we can achieve the carbon neutrality, how faster we can decrease our carbon emission, how we can embed the sustainability framework in a industry. So those kind of element need to be bring in our environment impact assessment policy. And I hope that the new draft policy, whenever it will come from the government side, is coming days, they will must entertain all these suggestions, and sustainability will be the main agenda and the main points in coming EIA notification. But let's hope for the best.
Let's hope for the best, sir. And we will definitely do a dedicated session on the EIA, the draft EIA, and what reforms that we need. One important aspect you mentioned was ZLD, zero liquid discharge. According to your opinion, how good this ZLD for the industry?
So see, ZLD, normal common terminology in industry, but to the common people, it is zero liquid discharge. Means we have to ensure that zero wastewater, zero liquid goes outside our premises. So concept-wise, it's very good. And some of the area, it's required also, where a lot of water scarcity is there. There is no mode of disposal of treated wastewater. So in those areas, zero liquid discharge concept is very good, and we should implement. But where the issue is that India is a very big country, and we have different regions. We cannot generalize the one regulation everywhere. And at this moment, our issue is that Ministry of Environment is saying that let's make mandatory ZLD. So today they are making it mandatory zero liquid discharge. But they should not make it mandatory in those regions where it's not feasible. With ZLD, let me tell you that any industry, if want to achieve zero liquid discharge, then they used to consume more energy, means more carbon emission happen, they consume more chemical, so more hazardous waste get generated. So if you see the environment point of view, and if I have two options, one option is treat the wastewater up to the discharge standard and then dispose safely inside the deep sea or suitable place. That is the one standard. And the second standard is implement complete ZLD. Then I can tell you, if you compare between these two standards, that just meet the discharge standard and make the ZLD, then the difference is that ZLD consumes 4 times more energy. So 4 times more carbon emission happen as compared to just meeting the discharge standard. Also, 3 times more chemical they use. So roughly 2 times more hazardous waste get generated by ZLD, which increases the load on our landfill sites. And if you see economics, then operation cost is also 3 times more with the ZLD, and the capital expenditure, capex, is also around 2.5 to 3 times more. So techno-economic assessment, if you do, then ZLD is not a techno-economic option. Also, it's not environment friendly because its carbon emission is more, hazardous waste generation is more. So what our suggestion is that those area, like right now, if you see the Gujarat coastal area, we have a lot of industry in Bharuch, Ankleshwar, Panoli, Jagadia, and there GIDC has implemented very good world-class deep sea discharge standard. And if you ask from me, I have visited almost all part of world. And today, if you see our deep sea discharge facility at Bharuch, it's means it's better than any discharge, deep sea discharge system of the world. Even with USA, we have one USA deep sea discharge facility that is around 10 kilometer deep inside the sea. The similar kind of system, our deep sea discharge standard at Bharuch is also nearly 10 kilometer deep inside the sea. And same standard, even better standard they have followed. But if you see US EPA, they have made regulation that those industry who will discharge into deep sea, so US EPA standard is saying you are allowed as high as 4,000 ppm COD to discharge, 2,000 ppm BOD to discharge, 2,000 nearly TSS to discharge. Why? Because those deep sea discharge diffusion technology is there, and after dispersion impact, no pollution impact comes, so higher discharge is allowed in US EPA. But if you come in India, although our deep sea discharge standard is same kind of US, but our policy say, environment policy, that our environment discharge standard are same for the river, same for the deep sea discharge. And they say that you are not allowed to discharge more than 250 ppm COD inside the deep sea. So what our suggestion is that let's align our deep sea discharge standard with the international standard, especially US EPA standard. And also, if coastal area have deep sea discharge facility, and if we have spent a lot of money to dispose safely our treated wastewater, then why you are imposing ZLD in those areas? Unnecessarily, you are increasing environment load on the environment. You are not using the facility which we have created with the taxpayer money, and also polluting the more environment. So I think it's very important that we should look on those policy, revisit on those policy which lead to more carbon emission. Because today our challenge is carbon neutrality. And Paris Agreement on climate change is saying that we should achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Our Prime Minister has given commitment that by 2070 we will achieve the carbon neutrality. And in order to achieve the carbon neutrality by 2070, we have to do a lot of work. We have to decrease our carbon emission. We have to decrease our energy consumption. And it's time to revisit all those policies and norms which in fact increasing the carbon emission. And ZLD is one among that, I feel.
So now we have a clear agenda that we want carbon neutrality and zero emission in long run. How, to just conclude today's discussion, how do you think our corporate world has adapted a right sustainability approach, as well as when I began the discussion, I say a large proportion of people are still deprived of even basic drinking water, basic air, safe air quality, and basic, healthy food. Indian foods or fruits are highly contaminated. There is no, as such, a very stringent criteria in terms of making fruits, vegetables, and basic foods contamination free. How the corporate world's sustainability approach and nations' genuine, sustainable and healthy environment and food system can be developed to achieve the carbon neutrality, sir? A little broad question, but
No, your question is very right. And I feel that yes, corporate have bigger responsibility to embed sustainability, and sustainability not only ensure pollution-free environment, sustainable development, but also it is for the profitability of corporate. So sustainability is a very good concept, and today corporate is also embedding it slowly. Slowly, we have seen that in last 4 5 years, a lot of good progress happened. Today, if you see the global sustainability management framework, then in those framework, we found that the company should must have a sustainability reporting in place. The company should must have sustainability target in place. Sustainability company should must have a TCFD report in the public domain. Company should must say set a science-based target. And if you see all these sustainability management framework, then I am not going to talk much more about the all listed company, because very big companies, numbers are very big, and we don't have much more survey for the small and medium scale. But just let me tell you Nifty 50, the top 50 listed company of India, Nifty 50. If you see right now situation, then as far as science-based target setting is concerned, today only 12% Nifty 50 company have set the science-based target. So I think in that area, we have to do a lot, and all corporate must have set their science-based target to reduce the carbon emission. And at this moment, it's only 12% with the Nifty 50. And if you talk as a whole, all listed company, then percentage will be very, very well less than 1%. Similarly, TCFD report. So Task Force on Climate Related Financial Disclosures. So their Nifty 50 company, if you see, maybe 24% Nifty 50 company have released the TCFD report. So there also we need to do a lot of work. And similarly, a scope 3 emission disclosure, if you see, less than 40% Nifty 50 company have disclosed their scope 3 emissions. So I feel that at this moment, corporate must have to pay attention on the embedding sustainability, especially embedding the global sustainability framework, where every listed company must have sustainability report in place, sustainability target aligned with the SDGs and Paris Agreement or climate change. Also, they must go for the certification. Like one is very good certification given by Indian Chemical Council, responsible care. So if you have taken responsible care certificate, it means you are getting audited at every 2-3 years by the ICC, and you are a responsible company. They used to audit, and based upon that, they provide the responsible care certification. And they have also issued several guidelines, several standard documents. And if company follow those, then yes, they can be excellent. Similarly, at a global, you may opt for the DJSI score, Dow Jones Sustainability Index score. That provide a framework where the company can enhance their sustainability approach. So I think these all are the area where the corporate need to do a lot of work. Actually, they are doing, I think, a great progress in last 4-5 years as far as sustainability is concerned. I think if you see, I am heading UPL, Environment Sustainability globally. And today, if you see UPL is only agrochemical company in the world who have been listed in the sustainability yearbook of Dow Jones Sustainability Index globally. Today, if you see, our score is highest among all the agrochemical globally. And what I am saying, sustainability reporting, science-based target, TCFD report, a scope 3 emission, all these sustainability framework we have in place at UPL. So like that, we expect that every corporate follow this and have a sustainability framework in place in their companies.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We had Dr. Mritunjay Chaubey, the Vice President and Head of Environment and Sustainability at UPL Group. Thank you. Keep watching the Policy Times.
Thank you.